There's several things that have transpired in Southtown that I think all of us should take note of. Number one is that we have been lied to. And this didn't start yesterday or the day before. It's been over the last 10 years. And certainly all of us have been involved. And we've probably attended hundreds of meetings similar to this one. And we would always get the same story. Next month, 6 months, 3 months. Well, this is cruel and inhuman treatment to all of us. Now, one of the things that I think that this administration, or whatever you want to call it, has to do is address that and put some credibility back into the statements that are released out of City Hall. Now, all of us realize that there's a lot of red tape goes on when any federal or state or local monies are involved. But I'd be damned if I can buy this idea that they have to lie to us and think that we're stupid enough to accept that as true. Now this burns me up. This is really a problem that I think that any administration can at least be honest with their own people, but they have elected not to be honest. Now the $900,000, I've heard this story, and I believe they have it. I believe they're waiting on the state or whoever will make that decision whether it can be used for moving people. Be that as it may, we should be kept up to date. If and when that decision is made, there should be a time schedule published, and this should be adhered to. And the city council should be charged with seeing that the administration carries out their orders. You know, it's almost like the tail wagging the dog in this particular case. The council is our elected representatives. Mr. Dakin, Mr. McKnight, and all the rest of the redevelopment people are hired people. And they answer to the council, to the dictates of the council. The council sets policy, the council sees that it's carried out. And that is what we're looking at in our community, that the councilmen set their responsibility and hold Mr. Dakin's feet to the fire and make him produce. Personally, I don't think they will, but at least this is something that we can ask that the council do as a whole, make them credible. Now, all other departments within the city come under this. If you remember, there was a great furor when the mayor was elected and he said there won't be a city garage. I want to take that money and relocate the people in Southtown. Well, the council stuck together and says, oh no, that was in plans long before you got here, and we need a garage, and we're going to build a garage. So we got a $3 million garage out there. And yet we have at least 27 families that are left on the other side of Sheridan, which is true Southtown, that they do not know when the city is going to act. This again is cruel and inhuman treatment. Now I was fortunate enough to be located on the corner of Amcor, so after 10 years I was able to escape. But they thought they would get rid of me, but I'll be here, don't worry about it. If it's 50 years, I'll still be here. I hope I'll be here. But at that time I was black-headed and now I'm white-headed, so some of you may have to wait a long time to get the truth out of them and get some action. But I can tell you this, that it's not dead, it's not over. There's no one going to give up. But I know it's terrible, winter is coming on, but damn it, if we can't get a promise out of this administration, there will be another administration that maybe that will give us some promises and keep their word. And all I can say is that when you organize meetings such as this, I heard from Ms. Eggleston call me today, Mr. Wiley called me Friday. Mr. Gwynn and I walked in together, and he said he heard about it at 12 o'clock noon. This isn't an advanced time. I had another meeting tonight. I hurried here as fast as I could. The city agreed, now this is another agreement, that any kind of a meeting that was held or conducted on Southtown, all churches in the area and all organizations within this area would be notified by mail by the city. And I hope that our president, Mr. Wiley, will certainly contact Mr. Dakin tomorrow and find out why he can't keep his word with us. You see, all of this, you can't continually let them get by with it. You have to holler. You don't want to, but you have to. And as they say, the squeaking wheel gets a grease. But I'll be with you. I'll do everything possibly, and certainly our organization will, and all the other people that are connected with organizations that I associate with, recognize this problem. We haven't forgot you, and we will continue to do the best we can to get this doggone thing resolved. And I got other stronger words, but I can't say them.
Thank you, Ms. Loveless. Bob has been real quiet in Southtown, and I'm glad he's, most people, when they move out of an area, they forget the bridge that brought them over. Several people I know that left Southtown haven't even looked back this way. But I can say Mr. Loveless is still trying to contribute what he can to help us get out of here.
I inquired at the Department of Redevelopment office. I talked with George Francis. My father is what you would call one of those hardship cases. He had a stroke a year and a half ago. He had a cerebral stroke. He has residuals from those now. If it had not have been for me moving back home, I don't know what our house on 6th Street, how it would have maintained. He is unable to do any type of housework at all. In fact, I have someone that sits with him during the day while we work. I got a letter from my dad's doctor, and it stated that my father had had the residuals and is unable to do any type of upkeep or maintenance to his property. I have not heard from the redevelopment office. I have not even received an appraisal of my father's property. It's really, it makes me really bitter to even come outside my front door and live in the conditions when I look around these vacant lots, houses, that's unfit for people to live in. Whatever means it takes for us to get out of this area, I'm willing to do something now. If I have to sit on the Mayor Malou's office all day, all night, I'll do that. I would like to see more people participate in this. I mean, everybody in this redevelopment office should be sitting here now, voicing our opinion. We should meet at the city. This is my first time following one of these meetings. I got invited by the CAPtions last Wednesday. I was glad that somebody was speaking out. I had no insight as to what they were doing with the Southtown. But like I said, I'm ready to go through any means to go ahead and make this thing progress. I don't think people should have to live in these type of conditions.
I know everyone here is really tired of a council person coming to you to speak before you and telling you we're going to do this and that, and nothing is done. Well, you're right, nothing is done, and it doesn't truthfully look like anything's going to be done for quite a while. September 5th, 1985, we had $2 million, and then all of a sudden we had $900,000. And now that $900,000, no one will say if we can spend it for relocation or not. We asked that question 2 weeks in a row at the city council meeting and didn't get any answers. Maybe this Tuesday we'll have an answer, and hopefully we can spend that money for relocation. The council last Tuesday did indeed, like Mr. Drupp said, allocate $98,000 for PETA, which is the organization set up by the city to help small and minority business people, which is important. It's very important. We've got to have small business people, and we've got to have minorities in business. But my feeling was that the money could be well spent otherwise, specifically for relocation benefits. And PETA can find some money otherwise in the city of Peoria, because I know it's there someplace, because every time somebody comes up with something, there's always the money there. So I felt if PETA got their money, which they should have gotten, we would still have that money to spend for relocation benefits. So now we don't. We also found $250,000 to give to the Hotel Pure Marquette for 3 years at no interest, or maybe longer than 3 years. Could be 8 years, could be 16 years. This is going to be up to them when it's repaid, actually. Maybe perhaps the first time the weather hits 30 degrees or so, maybe we should bring some buses to Southtown and load up the people that don't have any furnaces and take them up to the Hotel Pure Marquette for a couple months. Maybe by then the city fathers and the people that run the city of Peoria will realize what's the occasion. We'll get their attention, if nothing else. And maybe the Hotel Pure Marquette won't want us, but maybe we should try it. Let's keep that in mind. I don't advocate any high pressure any sort that's illegal or immoral, but what's happening in Southtown is illegal and immoral as far as I'm concerned. The roads, the money, there again, we always got money for the roads for AMCOR. AMCOR is important. It's going to bring some employment. It's going to bring some taxes to the city of Peoria. But it kind of reminds me of the East Berlin Wall. We're building streets and roads and fences to bring people in, but those roads don't lead out to the Southtown residents that need to get out. It's strange where the priorities are, and I guess maybe we're seeing things through a different set of eyes than the rest of the council and the rest of the city is. But we should keep our eyes focused on the important thing. We should work together. And I don't like talking to you and making a lot of promises, because you've been hearing promises for 10 years now. But let's continue working together. Let's hope for something. Let's pray for something. And let's do what we need to do with our hearts. Thank you.
The thing is that we can't understand is when you get to City Hall, we expect to find the answers, and it's just like you're running through the Berlin Wall. Now between the mayor and the manager and the redevelopment man, they're bound to know the answer why they're leaving Shipman to South Sheridan in a jumble in it. There's already what we talked about on Southtown Committee 2 months or 3 months ago. There's your high pile of dirt. And there are the people's homes right there. The dust is flying. I go by there every morning. Now, when you pay a manager $70, a mayor maybe $20, and you've got 2 new assistant managers, Davis and McKnight. He was promoted, but yet we're living in a Berlin Wall. Right here. Why is it that they don't give the people the answers? Now you have the East Bluff, a problem. Well, they finally got that halfway straightened out, I guess, but not to the betterment of the people. But like you said, there's no area worse than Southtown. But yet we run into a brick wall. No answers. But do you really think with this $900,000, do you really think that we can start within the next month and relocating these people? Because I think if they don't get an answer pretty soon, the city is going to be liable for a big problem. And I know people who are working on this same thing. There's nobody living anywhere in the United States, even in Bedford, Stuyvesant, in New York City. Look, is it no more worse than here? And I think I want to commend you because you have been behind the South Side Improvement Association, all of the social agencies here in Peoria, to try to do your part. And I hope, because I was on the Southtown Committee, and all we got was a runaround. And it's time that you people don't sit back anymore. I wouldn't sit back. I would be on the City Hall floor every day, every night. And I would go to Mayor Maloof's office. Of course, I was born and raised down here. And I'm a fighter, and I'm a fighter today. But if you don't get people to go behind and to help, you're going to be sitting here for the damn next 10 years. And I think that with Mr. Eunice and Mr. Pope, I would start marching to City Hall. We elected a man who sat right in this hall with GER and all of them. I asked him one question: what's your main problem down here? What are you going to do? People need jobs. Mr. Maloof said jobs. Mr. GER said, well, he'd have to think about it. Well, you're getting the jobs, I guess, but you're still living bad. And if you don't stick together and fight together, you're going to be here. Because they've got the money, right?
I agree, Mr. Wiley. There has to be the money someplace. And everything that comes up, there's always money for it. Even if it's not real important in some of our minds, the money is there. Like Mr. Wiley says, we've got to stick together, we've got to work together and march together as necessary and protest again together and keep things going and keep things stirred up and keep Southtown on everybody's mind. The winter is coming up, and you've heard it for 10 winters already. And I know you're sick and tired of hearing it over and over and over again. The that maybe this might be the time, this might be the season. Maybe by some miracle they can find some money someplace. But it's our money, it's your money. It's not anybody else's money, it's not the city's money, it's not the city manager, it's not the mayor, it's not mine. It's your money. And you deserve your dues. You've been members of the city for a long time. It's something you got coming to you. It's not a handout, it's not charity, it's something you deserve. I know there's a few of us on city council that feel the same way you do. But like I said, there's only a few of us. So maybe we can get together again, we can find some more money, and put some pressure on somebody in the White House or Springfield or wherever it's necessary. They sure in the heck can find money for fences and roads, but they can't find money for the buses and the roads to lead us out of here. Let's keep together, and I appreciate your consideration.
Now, when I say march, I don't mean just take the few people that's in this room, because that don't really do any good.
Right.
I'm saying go around to the whole South Side area and collectively get everybody that lives in the Southtown area that's affected and get down there and march and show your protest. Because what they're saying now is that people are waiting and they don't really have complaints. We're talking about putting people on buses, bringing them down through the Southtown area. Bringing them down through there for what? They know our utility bills are high. They know what kind of conditions we live in. They ride through there all the time. These are our city elected officials. They know what kind of areas they're over. Why do they need to come down there and look at us again? I'm saying go down there and stand up for your rights. And if you don't want to stand up for your rights, there ain't no point of meeting anymore.
NAACP is taking a concrete stand. Now I believe in the law that Mr. Love's is talking about. But coming before that, a lot of times you have to do something like civil disobedience.
Okay.
Show cause for the arrest, and then you get the case before proper people. Now we have the lawyers, we're going to have the people. We're going to start on this matter in just a few days. And we're not keeping anybody from actually joining us, and we're not trying to split this particular group. But we know that we have to do these things if we're going to do them. Our national office has consented that they will be supported, and we're going to get something done. Now, if you want to do something, I'm willing to lead a line and go down to City Hall and sit right there in City Hall until they act. Carry my breakfast, my lunch, and some additional meals, and stay there. In 2 days, they'll cry. Then we go on these sites if it's necessary to stop the progress they have in building these highways. If they can build the highways, get all this money for other things, they can get some money for us. So we're going to have to act. And we can't just mill around about it. We can be sophisticated about it. We can pack City Hall. If you pack City Hall and refuse to go until you get something done, you'll be heard by 1 o'clock that night. I'll bet you $100.
Mr. Grant, thank you.
Southtown can become an instructive example for the nation of what people who were determined to help people help themselves could do together. And so I've come just to share with you the fact that I have a dream. I have a dream that you can become an instructive example to this nation if you will work together at 2 things. First, getting the attention of the politicians, and secondly, working together to fashion a plan that can in fact be implemented. Now, before you dismiss that seemingly simplistic and far-removed dream as something that is nice for speech making, but not for serious implementation, let me say that I do that and I dream that dream because I've had the experience of working to see such nightmares become dreams in my own church and in my own community. I was telling a group of ministers earlier this afternoon that Lou Rawls probably had it right for me and for many of those who now remain in Southtown when he, in a song called Tobacco Road, said, "I was born in a dump. My mama died and my daddy got drunk. And he left me here to die or grow in this place called Tobacco Road. I grew up in a rusty shack and all I had was hanging on my back. Lord knows how I loathe this place called Tobacco Road." And he said, "I'm going to leave this town and get a job with the help and the grace of God, save plenty of money and get rich, I know, and bring it back to Tobacco Road. Bring dynamite and a crane and blow it up and tear it down and start all over again and build a town I'll be proud to show and keep the name of Southtown, the new Southtown." I had that kind of experience because not only am I the minister of my home church, but that church is in the community in which I grew up. And I'll never forget when I had finished my preparation for the Christian ministry, I returned to my home church as pastor, and pursuant to my training at Yale, I had decided to undertake a demographic study of what was happening in our community with a view to planning my ministry for 20 years. Well, when I had conducted a study not unlike that which you conducted some years ago here of the demography of the Washington area, and I saw what was going on, and I saw the nightmares that were being developed in the south towns of the Washington area, I decided the best thing for me to do was to move out of the inner city to the fringe of the city and wait for my parishioners and fellow residents to be pushed out. Because everybody was coming back into town in what they called a dramatic and exciting urban renewal program, by which through the people's planning process they determined that certain areas of town had to be redeveloped and had to be renewed, and that utilizing the powers of eminent domain by which government can take land when the people agree and give citizens a fair price and move on. We had seen the area around Capitol Hill called the Southwest Urban Renewal Project result in tens of thousands of low and moderate income people being displaced in order that high-rise and high-income units and facilities might be built. At that time, having a little Michael Banks in me, I said something's wrong with this. Urban renewal has become urban removal. The removal of black and poor people from valuable downtown land, and we're fed up with this, and we're not going to take it anymore. To dream that impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to Southland, and to right the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to strive when our arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest to follow that star. New Southtown. No matter how hopeless, it'll never happen. No matter how far, to fight for the right, feed the hungry, without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause, to be willing to give when there's no more to give, to be willing, like Martin Luther King Jr., to be willing to die so that honor and justice might live. And I know if we'll only be true to this glorious quest, that Martin's heart will lie peaceful and calm when you're through, where though he's laid to his rest, and the world and Peoria and Illinois and the United States, the world will be better for this. That one man, one woman, boy, one girl, scorned and covered with scars, still tried, we can do it, still tried with your last ounce of courage to dream the impossible dream for those 500 families that are still there, to fight the unbeatable foe. Where are we going to get the money? To reach